Well, it's like we haven't talked about Juan Soto enough, but goodness gracious, it's all over Toronto Blue Jays media.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You can start the season off with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. As always, I'm Braden Iwasko. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Braden5 Iwasko. Carter First, too, as well on Instagram and TikTok, at Locked On Blue Jays. As well, if you're new here on YouTube or you're listening anywhere else, make sure you head over to the YouTube page. You drop a subscription to us. It's free. You might as well do it. And so you guys can keep up to date on all the live streams, the videos, the reels or shorts. And we have a Discord link in the description as well. Little thing here, just before we get going, we'll talk about it a little bit more sort of segment 3, but me and Carter are obviously doing Movember. I have not clean shaven my face in probably 2 years, so it looks a little strange to me. But we're doing that. So if you can spare honestly anything, it's a great cause. I've done it the last few years. I know Carter's participated as well. And it really just is a really good cause. And I suggest you guys go take a look in the description and please donate whatever you can. It really means means the world to a bunch of people. So, we have this platform now. We want to try to do little things like this and when we can. So, I'm trying to not lose it over what my face looks like right now, but the mustache will grow back. It's fine.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you might be wondering, why are these 14-year-old boys doing this podcast? Where are the regular hosts? But it is us. We are still here. Movember, great cause, obviously. That's the first time, same thing. I've been clean shaven in a while. It's a small price to pay for, obviously, the cause that you're doing it for. So, we encourage you guys to participate in Movember if you're willing to do that. And also donate if you guys have the funds available to do that. But let's get into the elephant in the room. Or I guess the other elephant in the room. I guess the first one, if you're on YouTube, was probably just looking at us. Dalton Varsho finally getting his recognition, finally getting his gold glove, center field gold glove for the AL. I mean, no-brainer for me. Should have been no-brainer last year, no-brainer this year. It's nice that he actually gets the accolades this year, though.
Yeah, I was sort of feeling like he might get snubbed again just of how last season went. And he should have probably won it there. But I'm very happy to see that Dalton Varsho was able to pull out ahead. And like you said, get the recognition he deserves. Me and you have been preaching it pretty much all season, just the amount of plays he makes, the amount of runs he can save, the difference maker he is in the defensive side of the ball. I mean, that's huge. And really it is unmatched in the league. And we have not heard about obviously Platinum Glove yet, but he's got to be up there, right?
Yeah, it's just one of the best outfielders in all of baseball. If you watch the Toronto Blue Jays, there wasn't a lot to get happy about, but Dalton Varsho playing defense was something to get excited about. If you like defense, just a guy that, again, we've said this so many times on the podcast, but he makes he makes fly balls just look easy. It looks like it's just, he can get up, get out of bed and just catch a fly ball. The routes he takes to the ball, some of the diving catches, just the lack for, wherewithal on his body too, jumping against the wall, climbing the wall, you name it. Dalton Varsho can pretty much do everything you need to do. You need him to do in the outfield. So it's awesome that he got his first ever gold glove, which is actually crazy that it took this long for Varsho to get his accolades.
It is. It really is insane. And I mean, me and you have been Blue Jays fans and friends for I don't know how many years now. And pretty much every season since Dalton Varsho has been a part of the team, I can remember the conversations of we're sitting on the couch. How is this guy not a gold glove winner? And I think last year was sort of like the cherry on top of like, where are these votes going that they're not going to Dalton Varsho? It was insane to me. But it sort of did make for a good sort of season here. And I think the league started to take notice, especially with, when the Jays are not being as good of a team, those plays stand out a little bit more than maybe they would on when the Jays are blowing teams out of the water 10-1 or something like that. So they mean a little bit more in these close games where every run really matters to the Toronto Blue Jays. So good for him.
Another cool thing about these gold gloves this year is that this was 14 first-time gold glove winners, tying the most in a single year with 2022. So yeah, a lot of those guys that didn't necessarily get the recognition for what they were doing just getting, the spotlight put on them for their defensive performances. It's definitely nice to see. Part of the reason that Dalton Varsho just wasn't getting these gold gloves is because he was like a utility man. He almost could get the gold glove utility just because he's playing everywhere in the outfield. He's had him at left field, center field, right field. This year, obviously with Kevin Kiermaier leaving, played a lot of center field down the stretch. So I think that kind of put him over the hump. And then, the defensive skills were always there. Like that was never the question. It's just, where are you going to give this guy the gold gloves? The way they were doing it was position by position, center field, left field, and right field. So with Dalton Varsho playing everywhere, I guess the games played kind of and innings at positions kind of just, but Dalton Varsho was on the wrong side of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that happens, right? We've seen that happen to a bunch of utility guys throughout the years that they get snubbed because of that. And that's why they did introduce the utility position, but that's more so for guys that are playing infield, outfield that can sort of do both. Dalton Varsho was a weird case that he was going from left to center to sometimes right. He was all over the map. So, but in saying that, I mean, there's not much else we can say. I think this is something that we've talked about a ton and have covered, the fact that Dalton Varsho should have been an easy candidate and an easy winner here for the Gold Glove. So, Carter, I think let's jump right into the meat and potatoes of today's episode. And that's got to be Juan Soto. I mean, the dude is all over Blue Jays media. I mean, you look up Juan Soto and there's probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 articles about him coming to the Toronto Blue Jays because I don't know, Carter. I don't know if it's fans pushing this. I feel like people are grabbing stories from space. I don't know where they're pulling some of these quotes and answers from. I've seen AI generated interviews with Juan Soto saying he's coming to the Blue Jays. It's a complete disaster. And all it does is bring me back exactly to the place almost a year ago when Shohei Ohtani, the same stuff was happening. It's frustrating, right?
Yeah, some of these quotes that have been coming out is just it's eerily similar to the Shohei Ohtani situation. The Toronto Blue Jays are willing to throw the bag at Juan Soto. The Toronto Blue Jays will give Juan Soto pretty much whatever he wants. The Toronto Blue Jays will give Shohei Ohtani whatever he wants. The Toronto Blue Jays are in talks with Juan Soto. The Toronto Blue Jays are in talks with Shohei Ohtani. A little bit of a difference here, but Juan Soto says he's interested in all 32 teams. I don't think Shohei ever went out and said that publicly, but maybe just a leverage tactic again from Juan Soto. And this is sort of what it feels like. And this is why I wanted to talk about this again. Is this leverage thing, as we've seen throughout the last couple seasons, especially with the Shohei Ohtani thing. The Blue Jays are in it. The Blue Jays are going down to the wire. The Blue Jays, he's on the plane for Shohei Ohtani in that sense. He's literally going to Toronto, going to have an interview, talk about finishing off that contract. Are you ready to get hurt again? Are we ready to take this seriously? I'm still not emotionally into this yet because I don't necessarily see it happening. If I was a betting man, I would not bet that Juan Soto is coming to the Toronto Blue Jays, just like last year. I didn't have Shohei Ohtani coming to the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not saying I don't want Juan Soto. Obviously, that would be the best offseason president of all time. Juan Soto is the big fish on the market. But for me, I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to go through that mental turmoil that Shohei Ohtani put me through. Maybe you guys are emotionally and mentally just stronger than I am, but I don't know if I can go through this again.
Well, dude, it all comes back. Of course, every team under the sun wants Juan Soto to come and play for them. But at the end of the day, for one, are the Blue Jays okay with then going to have to be going over the luxury tax? That's question number one. And I fully don't believe that, yes, they are. Maybe if they get one, maybe. Again, I don't really want to speculate, but in my head, I feel like they don't want to push that luxury tax. I think, yeah, if you lock Juan Soto down for a long-term deal, obviously you probably are going to have to. Otherwise, you don't want to bring him here and then have no supporting pieces and not be a contender then. If he's coming here for a reason. Along that same vein, I guess, the belief is gone. It was sort of sucked away from me last year. I remember how high I was on Shohei Ohtani. And then the talks around Juan Soto, half the fan base is talking about, oh, he might come here. It might happen. The other half of the fan base is making fun of the rest of those people. And a little bit of me doesn't want to be a part of the group that gets duped again. So I'm trying to be not glass half empty necessarily, but I don't want to be the glass half full guy either on this situation. I want it to happen, and that's sort of where I'm leaving it. I don't want to be hurt again. I don't know if I can handle another Christmas gift from God that tells me that another player isn't coming to the Toronto Blue Jays.
This one feels different though, because Shohei Ohtani being from Japan, playing for a country, would have had the same sort of scenario where he was in Canada playing for a country as well. And just where the Toronto Blue Jays are at from last offseason compared to this offseason. Last offseason, again, you don't win a playoff game. We obviously know how that series went. 1 run in 2 games. Not going to get it done. But you looked at the pitching, you looked at the bullpen, you looked at some of the pieces, you looked at the offense. You like, if you can add to this offense, this is the thought last year, this team could be very competitive. This team could make a deep playoff run with how good their bullpen was, how good their starting pitching could be as well. You look at this year, I mean, you didn't really have an offense that was that good, mediocre down the stretch. The bullpen needs so much help at this point. Starting pitching, I'm still okay with it. You always need pitchers, though. You can add the starting pitching as well. At this point, like Shohei Ohtani last year had some things that were attractive about the Toronto Blue Jays. When we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays right now, compared to the New York Mets, compared to the New York Yankees, compared to the Los Angeles Dodgers being thrown around, compared to even San Francisco Giants is another one I've been hearing a little bit. Again, not necessarily the Giants in this sense, but what do we have to compare to the New York Yankees, the New York Mets? Would he really want to commit to Toronto that has just had one of their worst seasons in recent memory? But instead of going back to the New York Yankees, again, following the World Series, you don't know what the Jays are going to do in the World Series. They haven't been there in a long time. The New York Mets, again, teams that are willing to spend. The Toronto Blue Jays always seem to be in this leverage role where they do have a higher payroll, but aren't necessarily willing to fork over the contract. And even if they were, does Juan Soto want to come here?
I think that's what it comes down to. I fully believe that if Juan Soto wanted to be a Toronto Blue Jay, I fully believe that they would dish the money. I don't think that's the issue. I fully think that, yeah, why would you want to come to this team right now as a superstar when every other team under the sun wants to sign you? That's a big question. You're right. What pieces do the Toronto Blue Jays have that put them over the top? And nothing, to be honest. It's the only draw here is, do you want to play with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Do you want to be that 1-2 punch?
Even then, sorry to cut you off, but even then, Vladdy isn't locked up. Bo Bichette's not locked up. What's the certainty with Juan Soto signing here for any sort of long-term deal? And then the Toronto Blue Jays being like, we'll let Vladdy walk up. We'll let Bo walk. And then all of a sudden, Juan Soto is the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of this team, stuck with really nobody around him and a team that may or may not be competitive in the future.
My biggest thing is you see the Blue Jays not go and pay Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Bo Bichette. Now, why in the world do you have the belief that now they're going to go and fork over all this money to Juan Soto when you have a superstar already in your team and you haven't pulled the trigger on an extension? It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like this situation was handled poorly. I think you're right. If the Toronto Blue Jays were to have locked up Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and know what the payroll would be for the next few years, then I could see it as a more justified reason to then pitch that to Juan Soto. We're willing to pay you. We're willing to give you the term. We're willing to keep you here and build around you. But that hasn't even been proven yet with the team, with the players that we have here in Toronto. So I don't know, man. Every sign is telling me no. And yeah, a little bit of my heart's telling me yes, but that's about it, to be honest with you. I don't think there's one good justified reason outside of, and you're right, it doesn't make sense that you get to play with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But the other part of this is you could go and play again with Aaron Judge. You could go and play with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani. You could go, to the Giants, I guess, whatever.
Matt Chapman, there you go.
Yeah, Matt Chapman. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of teams offering what the Blue Jays are offering with way more upside. The Blue Jays right now are the dumpster of the AL East. And I hate to say that, but they are. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, the only thing that we could kind of spins on this into a little bit of a positive is that we have seen a team get carried to the World Series by two players, carried through, honestly, an entire season. Again, the sporting rules throughout the playoffs were a lot better. I can't take away completely everything from the New York Yankees, but overwhelmingly in the regular season, Juan Soto, it was the Juan Soto and Aaron Judge show pretty much the entire season. So if you get Juan Soto to sign here, you do have Vladdy, you do have Bo, you would have Juan Soto. Again, assuming Bo has a better season, you would have three players then that theoretically could carry an offense, could at least make them mediocre and make them competitive, especially when you have the starting pitching coming back. Again, the bullpen, still a massive need as well. And that's kind of where my issue is that is Ross Atkins going to throw all this money when, especially as you said, hasn't thrown money at the superstars that are literally here, homegrown talent. Why would he go outside of the franchise for a guy he doesn't necessarily know as well? Again, there's tape on Juan Soto, probably hours and hours and hours watched on Juan Soto. But again, with Juan Soto, you don't really need to watch the tape to know how good this guy is. It just seems a little bit naive for us to think that Juan Soto might sign with the Toronto Blue Jays when they can't even sign Vladdy or Bo Bichette.
I think at the end of the day, we have to just in our heads remember, let's not get duped again. I think we don't believe it as fans until pen is to paper and he is in Toronto. I was going to say until the flight is booked, but you can't even do that anymore. You can't do that. I don't care if there's restaurant reservations. I don't care if he's bought a home in Toronto. Until he has stepped foot in Canada, I do not believe a thing right now. And I feel like that's where a lot of these fans are. I've been scrolling through Twitter lately. I haven't posted a whole time, but I've been scrolling, just looking at what they're saying on him. And I don't know what to believe. And I don't know how, if we're not knowing what to believe, I don't know how the average fan feels. You know, what are they thinking? Are they even thinking about Juan Soto right now? I think you have to be. But that's my biggest question. And maybe I know a lot of our listeners are hardcore Jays fans. They are, here wanting a breakdown. They're wanting all the news right then and there. But if you're a casual fan that catches a couple games and you happen to stumble across this podcast, what are your thoughts on Juan Soto? Honestly, like, is this even on your radar? That's my question, I guess, to everybody listening.
Juan Soto should be on your radar, obviously. If you're a baseball fan, you've probably heard about Juan Soto, even if you are a casual. But we're just going to have to see how this plays out. It's going to be very hard if it does come down to it. It's like, oh, it's the New York Yankees, Mets, and Blue Jays. It's going to be hard to be like, oh, like, we're not in it. Like, it's really going to be hard to emotionally remove ourselves from that scenario, because there's going to be reports as we progress through this offseason of like, oh, Juan Soto more and more likely probably coming to the Blue Jays. Again, how much validity are you taking from those reports at the end of the day? So you're right. We got to wait. Maybe if there's a sighting, I might be in if there's a sighting Juan Soto in Toronto. I don't need a plane ticket. I need Juan Soto in the flesh. I need a picture of Juan Soto in downtown Toronto. And maybe at that point, I'll jump back in on the ship.
All right. I'll meet you halfway. I'll say, all right, if there's a sighting and somebody spots them, okay, maybe. But even then, at this point with AI, I don't know what to think. Maybe it's still fake. Anyway, guys, I want to talk about Nathen Lukes as well, his season in review. We'll get to that. And then third segment, we'll sort of come at you just with a couple little things that we wanted to throw in. Make sure you do stick around for that, because it's important stuff to talk about. We haven't really got to do it yet. So we'll definitely, sit down for a couple minutes to have a little bit of a chat on that stuff as well. But we'll be right back. Nathen Lukes, season in review, coming right out. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. I'm telling you guys, the NFL on FanDuel, unbelievable. I just won like $100 yesterday. I was over the moon. I don't know if I've ever been that excited, because I was watching the games, betting a live game as well. So I was just like, if I saw something I liked, I was going for it. And it was working out. FanDuel, the live, and I think you can parlay them too when it's live. Do that. I'm telling you, it pays. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So, dude, a guy that sort of, I don't want to say flew under the radar, because he really only played 22 games here for the Toronto Blue Jays. But that 22 game sample looked pretty good. Now, I know what everybody's thinking, like, how much can you really take away from it? And that's the question. How much can you really take away from it? I want to break down Nathen Lukes' stats here in 2024 with the Toronto Blue Jays. So, like I said, 22 games played. He had 91 plate appearances, 23 hits, 4 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 10 RBI. He batted a .303 with an on-base percentage of .371, a slugging of .447, and an OPS of .818, which are really good numbers, Carter, which are really good numbers. I don't want to take anything away from him. But he had to be a little bit lower in our rankings just because of this game sample size, and he's getting up there in age. Not old, but he's not young either. So you sort of would have hoped he would be the best he's going to be right now. And if this is the best he's going to be, only in a 22 game sample size, I don't know what to think on him right now.
He kind of reminds me of like Spencer Horwitz from the way they played in AAA and how it transpired to the MLB. It wasn't really much of a jump whatsoever. They played very similar for how they were in AAA versus how they played in the MLB. Again, small sample size, completely different leagues, so it's tough to assume. But Nathen Lukes, in the little bit of opportunity that he did have, looked very good. Again, we're hitting 300 in AAA, hit 300 in a short time in the major leagues as well. So again, you can take a lot away from that. Just seeing, again, anything from at the MLB level. It's hard to play MLB baseball. If you get any positives, it is nice to see. A guy that was our fourth outfielder, again, going into 2023. Minimal role at that point. Kevin Kiermaier still around. Dalton Varsho, George Springer really getting the majority of the playing time at that point. And then with this season, the reason you didn't really hear about Nathen Lukes as much is we probably would have had Nathen Lukes get called up at the trade deadline. More than likely, he would have been one of the first people to get called up, but he was injured at this point on the 60-day IL. So it took him a while to recover, recoup, kind of get back. And then, after the injury, which was really nice to see, actually, on the 60-day IL, obviously a 2-month injury, a little bit longer than that when you count the days. But he came back and looked really good. Didn't really miss a step whatsoever. So that was it was very nice to see with Nathen Lukes. Again, in spring training, he went 18 for 40 with 6 RBIs and 5 walks. Surprisingly, didn't make the roster. I thought he was going to be one of the candidates to be that fourth outfielder, but with how good Ernie Clement was, and again, the Daniel Vogelbach experience, he ended up cracking the roster as well. That didn't really leave a lot of room for Nathen Lukes. And again, a guy that just more of an all-around baseball player, not the fastest guy of all time, but a pretty good outfielder. He had 4 outfield assists, 5 defensive run saves, only 1 error. His arm's pretty good as well, 86th percentile. Again, small sample size, but you can't really fake an arm at the MLB level. So with Nathen Lukes, is this going to be a guy that's going to hit 300 the entirety of 2025? I'll say it right now. No, he's not. It's not going to be in the cards. But I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays probably do need a leadoff hitter. I mean, it can't get much worse than what George Springer is doing. So maybe the Blue Jays do decide to give that a shot. But Nathen Lukes, realistically, will be one of the guys I will be battling for a spring training spot, battling for an opening day roster spot. For me, if he doesn't make the team, I can see him just getting waived and probably going to, again, play for a team like the Oakland Athletics, maybe the Los Angeles Angels, one of the teams that are pretty much guaranteed not to make the playoffs. Again, crazier things have happened, but when you have a guy like Nathen Lukes playing full time, that usually doesn't mean you're trying to make a deep playoff run. No disrespect to Nathen Lukes, because I actually loved him. I loved what he was doing with the Toronto Blue Jays in a short amount of time. But it's going to be one of those just spring training battles that hopefully he can crack the 2025 roster once again.
Yeah, and it comes down to this again. And I hate to say this because I really liked what I saw too. I wasn't maybe as high on him as you were. But I liked him. I think he did everything right. I think he came in and was the player that he needed to be at the MLB level for the team that he was on at that time. At the end of the day, and I'm going to say this about a few guys as we talk about them, if they're on the team in 2025, I'm concerned for the Blue Jays' future. And I don't mean that derogatory or anything like that. But at the end of the day, if Nathen Lukes is one of your guys to start the year, I'm a little concerned. I wouldn't say it's a complete throwaway, but I'm a little bit concerned with the moves that should have been made in the offseason. And again, like Nathen Lukes, liked everything he's done. He was actually a very solid player for the games he was in. But again, you haven't seen enough from him. Getting close. Is he 30 exactly? 30 years old?
Yeah, 30 years old.
And so him being 30, I mean, it's just how much do you have left, right? Like, what do you have left to really make that big jump to be a very good player in this league? I don't know. I don't think there's a ton of time. So again, this was a guy that I've actually sort of known for a long time because I'm an avid MLB The Show player. And every time that you start a franchise or a March to October, anything like that, he's always the guy that's like, oh, maybe you should call up Nathen Lukes. It's always a suggestion. Call him up. And then, you play with him for a season and then you never see him play. Well, now this season we finally got to see him and I really enjoyed what I've seen. But I don't think it's enough for me to be feeling good about him being on this team in 2025.
And part of this will be the direction of the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, for this season, they're willing to, or they're trying to compete at least. They're going to try their best. I'm not sure how that exactly that's going to go. We're going to have to find out. Again, Nathen Lukes hits, 280 and has a very good spring training. I don't necessarily want him on the starting roster, but if he has a bench spot, he's our fourth outfielder. I'm not going to be mad about that whatsoever. But if you're at the point at somewhere throughout the season where it's not going that well, and we kind of have a repeat of the 2024 season, and you're more so going towards the rebuild, you want to get some younger guys in, even if you somehow do get a rebuild going, at best, Nathen Lukes is going to be, 36 years old, 37 years old. at that point, you're kind of just grabbing at loose strings. You would rather probably go with a Will Wagner type, a Joey Lopervito. Some of these guys that are younger, not necessarily as experienced in the league, have more upside than Nathen Lukes. So it's really going to depend for Nathen Lukes and how he does his spring training. I like what he's doing. I like what he did in his spring training, pretty much all of 2024, whether it was spring training, AAA, MLB level. It's just, can he continue that? Will it be good enough to make this opening day roster? It's going to be tough to say right now. A lot of free agency left hasn't even started. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to that. Just really depends who they sign and how good of a spring training this guy has.
Yeah, man, and I guess we'll leave it there. There's a lot we can say, and we have a lot of time, and I think we'll have to revisit Nathen Lukes closer to that spring training and really see what he can bring to the table. But in saying that, we got some other stuff that we want to get into here in this third segment. Sort of left it a little bit.
One more thing.
Go for it. Sure.
Player grade for Nathen Lukes. What is your overall Nathen Lukes experience in 2024?
Again, I think me going into this year, my expectations weren't really anything. So I liked everything that he's done. I think for him personally, and in comparison to my expectations, he has to be an A or an A+. I think he's done everything, more than everything I expected of him, and really been a really good player for the time he was here. And that's all I can really judge it on, is my expectations versus what we got. And what we got was A+ for him, to be honest with you.
See, that for me, that's crazy high. I don't have Nathen Lukes even sniffing an A+, an A-. I have him more so around the B. I actually have him as a C+ for me. What
was your expectation of him?
My expectation was probably fourth outfielder again going into the season. I expected him to just, rotate in, get some at-bats. Didn't necessarily expect him at 280. But for me, it's the 20-game sample size. Can I take too much away from that? It was better than expected. I didn't think, again, you hit 280 with the amount of hits he had, just the quality of at-bats. So that's why I had the expectation a little bit higher. I'm between a C+ and a B-. But for me, with Nathen Lukes, it's the sample size and just the overall impact he had on the team wasn't necessarily the biggest thing of all time. So I'll keep it at a C+ for this one.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, I sort of went based on my expectations, which was almost next to nothing for him, to be honest with you. I think a guy coming in at 30 years old, I didn't really expect anything. And what I got was way more than what was advertised, I think, with him this season. I didn't even expect to overly see him, to be honest. So the fact that we did, and he put up a good batting average, good on base, good OPS, I think that's deserving of, maybe it's just where our expectations were going in that are different. Because yeah, he sort of blew my expectations out of the water.
Yeah, he was, I guess, more on my radar going into the season than he was for you. Again, you're a big David Schneider guy. You probably wanted him as that fourth outfielder at this point rather than a guy like Nathen Lukes. And yet, really, when you look at David Schneider, really ended up being one of the starting left fielder for at least the first half of the season. And then obviously the Kevin Kiermaier trade. And then we had kind of just a platoon of outfielders. But again, nothing against Nathen Lukes. We have him coming in here at 26. So again, a lot of players ahead of him. Not necessarily the biggest expectation going into next season. I think we're probably leaning more towards the younger guys if it's any sort of similar performances. But it's tough to speculate with this because if you look at our outfield, you have Dalton Varsho, who may or may not be ready for the season. You have deteriorating George Springer, who's just, I think, is probably going to get worse this upcoming season. And then do you want to have David Schneider there? Or are they going to sign a guy like Juan Soto, Anthony Santander, all the guys that we will be talking about? So at 25 or at 26, sorry, with Nathen Lukes, I think that's a fair spot. If you guys have your opinions, obviously, if you want him higher or lower, if you have higher expectations for Nathen Lukes, if you think he can kind of carry over those 22 game sample size into 2025, just please let us know in the comment section and see if there's any Nathen Lukes advocators out there.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a surprise this season. Yeah, and to be honest with you, if we're going of what we expect of him next year, again, I don't necessarily know if my expectation of him has changed from the start of this season. I've liked what I've seen. I've really enjoyed it. I don't necessarily believe that there's a long-standing place on him with this Toronto Blue Jays team. And again, nothing against them because I've liked what I've seen. In saying that, guys, Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, the last thing about Nathen Lukes here. It's kind of funny when you're just looking at, like, I got the list pulled up in front of me here. There's really nobody on the Toronto Blue Jays like Nathen Lukes. I guess you could say Ernie Clement is similar to Nathen Lukes in the age, just kind of working up from within. When you look at some of these other guys that we'll get into, a lot of younger guys, a lot of more proven guys at the MLB level. Not a lot of these journeymen necessarily, at least from the positional player standpoint on the Toronto Blue Jays. So it's nice to get a different perspective on players like this. A guy that, again, has been around the minors, things like that, has been in systems for a little bit of time here. Just a little bit of a late bloomer, you could say, in the Toronto Blue Jays system. So it's a nice perspective change to get for a little bit of an older guy that's playing some of the best baseball of his career.
Yeah, man. Again, we had some stuff to get into here. We've been sort of dragging out. I don't necessarily know that we needed to talk Nathen Lukes for like 20 minutes, but here we are.
Man, come on.
I know you love him. But apparently not as much as I do. So anyway, we'll take a quick break. We got some more stuff to get into just on the other side. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. As you guys know, Game Time Picks makes getting tickets for your favorite teams when they play games even easier. I always talk about a Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. For me personally, I think it's the cheapest option. It's the best option. I know what my tickets are going to look like. They have, they're all in pricing, which is a fantastic feature. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkouts. That's my biggest thing. I want to know what I'm going to pay for those tickets when I'm purchasing them. I don't want to know. I don't want to think about, the additional $20 that's going to be tacked on top at the end. Game Time doesn't allow that to happen. Seat views, they got a great panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. They also have the lowest price guarantee, or they will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Carter, not a crazy third segment here. I honestly just thought we'd take a little bit of time because this is something that's pretty important. This is, we've created this page. We've created the Movember page. And I think it's important for everybody to, recognize. And I feel like Movember has been growing over the past bunch of years. But at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of professional athletes, friends, family, whatever you want to say, all impacted by mental health. And it is an important topic to discuss. That's why we did make the page. If you can go and donate whatever you possibly can, it does help. They have a bunch of stuff on here of what donations go to, what they can do. You can go check out our page. It's I don't know, Carter. It's just a great opportunity here. And I think the amount of buy-in that there's been from men, women, brothers, sisters, dads, moms, whatever you want to say, it really has been fantastic. And, when you see people completely shaven, growing it out like idiots, or growing the mustaches, it really has taken over everything. You see it in hockey, baseball, football players are doing it too. It really is fantastic.
Broadcasters, just, again, the average fan. It doesn't really matter who's doing it. It's just the awareness, just getting people to know about what's going on. Another thing that I'm doing for Movember is the 60 kilometers in November for the 60 men per day. I think it's per day. It's per day or hour. I think it's per hour, actually. I probably should have had that stat pulled up. Pretty sure it's 60 men per hour that commit suicide. So it's a very serious thing. Obviously, mental health is a very big thing going on right now. So it's nice to get the awareness out there, especially about such a prominent issue for especially us as being men as well. It's nice to get this clause out there.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people don't know how to talk about some of these things, within their group of friends, or don't know how to bring it up, or don't know how to be a support system to some people as well, me included. I think what sort of my goal with all this is to have more of those conversations and try to figure out what the best way to, be a support system for somebody is. I think we can all learn from that. So, take the time, talk to some people, figure out, how you can best support your friends, families, coworkers, whatever it is. This stuff happens, and you never know when, you'll be the person that somebody comes to when they're in need, or how you can see some of the warning signs of some mental health stuff going on. So again, just hopefully you guys can go, even if you can't donate, make sure, grow the mustache out, just spread the awareness. That is the biggest thing. And I know that, everybody is doing it. I know at work we got one going too. And, I'm gonna probably get some weird looks at work. And I know we have Sam Brownell, one of our news anchors, is he shaved off the entire beard. He's a bald guy, shaved off the entire beard. And I couldn't help it. I was making fun of him a little bit, but I know that he can grow a way better beard than me. So he'll be back in 2 days when I'm going to be out here struggling for a month. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there, Carter. I know, me and you've had conversations just about mental health and what's more we can do to support other people. So hopefully, this is a step in the right direction.
And unfortunately, I've been trying to find the suicide stat. I can't find it. I don't know. I don't know where it is. So just apologies for me for not having that pulled up, because this is a serious issue. But yeah, it's all about the awareness. You never know how people are feeling, especially as men. I know personally, it's not the easiest thing to share your emotions with some people. So we encourage you guys to do that. Talk to somebody. No matter what it is, if you think it's how big, how small, people care about you no matter what. I know you might not think about it in the moment, but they do. It's going to be a lot worse if you're not around than if you are still in this world with us. Especially now you can watch the Blue Jays, and hopefully they can at least bring a little bit of joy. And that's our goal as well. We try to bring a little bit of joy into your daily lives as well.
Yeah, man. And you know what? We don't want to make this a super, serious, sad thing either, but it's just a good opportunity to, get it out there and start having conversations. I mean, again, I look back to the pandemic, my man, and you didn't really talk to anybody. I mean, yeah, we had the PlayStation chat, booted up, and we were yapping away, but for a lot of people, they were stuck inside, and really, you could see a turn of people, staying inside, talking less to friends, talking less to family ever since. So I think it's a good way to, reopen those communication lines in between people for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Just encouraging communication is always going to help at the end of the day. But I think that's pretty much all we got for you guys this time. Again, ending it on a little bit of a sadder note, but we think this awareness is obviously very important. Thank you guys for watching. The likes, comments, subscriptions, everything recently has been appreciated. Free agency is coming up quick, November 5th. So hopefully we get some Toronto Blue Jays action coming at us pretty quickly. Thank you guys for watching one more time, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.